Well, thank y'all for coming. I'm so glad that y'all are here. I'm glad to have some new faces. This is awesome. It really excites me. This month through May, we're going to be looking at vitamins and minerals.
Good.
I don't know if I can. My mom used to tell me to be quiet all the time. Now so I can talk louder.
Oh, you got it.
So anyway, that's what you get for sitting on the
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was different.
So anyway, we're going to be like looking a lot deeper into vitamin C, the different minerals, and so we're just going to be alternating each month. Next month we'll look at iron. I think then vitamin A, and I don't remember that may finish. No, March, April, May. I don't remember what May is. Magnesium. That's what May is. Yeah. So, of course, what I love about a lot of these topics, like, I don't know in-depth information. I just know kind of, what they're good for and all that. So it helps me to research and a lot of times refresh and go, oh yeah. Or I get to find cool studies that they've done and information on that. So the disclaimer that I have to add before any talk is that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I don't have medical training, but I do have training in natural health. And what I don't know, I do research. That was something that all of the food intolerances with Cheyenne, that really taught me. I like to research. I like to find things and dig. So any of the information I share today is for educational purposes only. It's not to replace sound medical advice. And there are some out there. So about, I'm really encouraged because a lot of them now, especially the nurse practitioners, are really either they're open to natural health or they actually have a little understanding in it, or they really understand it fully.
Like Dr.
That's all.
Rebecca,
Mm-hmm.
when you said the other day, anything that's natural that you want to do, go for it.
Yep.
You can use it instead.
Yep. And so there's a lot, as long as it's working, they're great with it. One thing that I value about our pediatrician that we've used since our kids were babies is she knows I'm going to do natural first. And if it's working, she doesn't have a problem with it. She's going to advise me medically, but she also had a lot of food intolerances and stuff, so she understands that too. So that's really valuable when you find somebody like that. But a little bit about me. I am a follower of Jesus Christ, and so everything that I look at, all of it's filtered through that. God made our bodies very unique, and that if we give it the right things, it will heal itself. And they're finding more and more organs will actually repair themselves, where before they thought it was just the liver. Well, and the liver, you can cut off almost all of it, leaving a portion of it, and it will regenerate itself, which is the coolest thing to me. But they're finding that with other organs as well. So God knew what he was doing. I'm, of course, a wife and a mother, which are my absolute favorite jobs.
Excuse me, how about
I
that?
have a background in animal science, ag management, ag marketing. I was going to raise cattle. That's my dream job. I probably still love cows. One day, maybe I'll get cows. Right now, I have kids. But I was in the ag field from 99 when I graduated from college until 2017. And so I went from animal nutrition, really diving into human nutrition. And through that, God led us on the journey of food intolerances, of eczema, of realizing I don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. I want to get to the root of the issue. And so that's led me a lot down this path. In 2015 is when I actually founded Simply Neutralistic. And I have to give credit not only to God, but to Dr. Bill Frazier in Lake City. He's since passed away, but he was very instrumental in helping me set up my business, helping me really guide me in teaching and getting education in natural health. And he was very instrumental in helping us with Cheyenne as well. So then I graduated with Certified Natural Health Professional Certificate in 2017. Since then, I haven't gotten other certificates as such, like designations, but I have not stopped in my training. There's Nutritional Frontiers is one of my favorite companies, and they're really good about providing really good training. We have a lot of doctors that are involved in that are clients of Nutritional Frontiers, but they're very instrumental in a lot of the teachings and stuff too. We also have a top pharmacist that does a lot of our teachings at webinars and everything, and he's the guru. He's amazing when he knows. So I've been in natural health personally since 2012, and that's when everything started with our daughter. And then professionally since 2017. In 2018 is when I actually stepped out on my own and became an entrepreneur. Until then, I've always been an employee, so there's a lot of things to learn when you're an entrepreneur. So we're looking at vitamin C, and if you know anything about vitamins, you know they're categorized into two categories. You have water soluble and you have fat soluble. And vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin, along with the B vitamin complex. Vitamin C we cannot make in our bodies. Animals can, but we cannot. Vitamin B, if you have the right bacteria in your gut, the right nutrients, you can make vitamin B, which I think is pretty cool. So anything with the water-soluble vitamins, if you take too much, your body's just gonna take what it needs and excrete it. So you can't build up a toxicity to those. It's really, that would be incredibly difficult to do. The fat-soluble vitamins, and water-soluble, when you, they take water to absorb. So people that don't drink water, they're not getting benefit of those, the vitamin Bs and the vitamin C, because your body just cannot really absorb that without it. The fat-soluble vitamins are just that. They take fat in order to get absorbed into your body. And those are vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, and vitamin K. And for those of you who are new to this class, I love an interactive class, so don't hesitate to stop me if you have questions or anything. So the history of vitamin C, I thought this was really interesting because I knew about scurvy, which is a huge deficiency symptom. Well, I didn't realize that back in 1550 BC, they were already seeing symptoms of what we now know as scurvy. And so that was way back then that they had found documentation of that. Hippocrates mentioned symptoms of it in 400 BC. In 1550, I don't remember what the issue was or what symptoms they were seeing. The article I read, it mentioned it, but I don't remember it and I didn't write it down. But they did recommend eating onions, which of course they didn't know then, but we know now onions are very high in vitamin C, and it's more of a neutral vitamin C. So like onion soup when you're sick would be tremendous. 1747 is when they actually started linking scurvy to a vitamin C issue. The sailors, especially from England, were dying by the thousands annually because when they're on ships, they don't have access to fruit and all that. Well, they started doing daily rations of citrus juice after that and didn't have any more issues with scurvy. They say now that scurvy is eradicated. However, at least in the US, if you look at, it's a couple of slides down, when we look at the symptoms of scurvy, it's still around today. They just don't call it scurvy. Linus Pauling, he was a chemist, and in 1970 he published a book that really brought vitamin C to everybody's attention. And part of it got cut off. Vitamin C and the common cold is what it's called. And so that's where they really started looking at vitamin C related to the common cold. And what it actually does is it shortens your duration of the common cold. But he really brought a lot of information to the forefront, a lot of attention to vitamin C. He did a lot of studies on vitamin C, and I think it's the Oregon State. One of the colleges out west has a Linus Pauling Institute, and that's a lot of times if I'm looking up anything about vitamin C, that's where I'll go, because it's a lot of his information is still out there. And I think he was one of the first ones that did the IV vitamin C. But he also proved that high doses of vitamin C are not harmful, but everybody has their own tolerant level of vitamin C, and it's going to be different for everybody in this room. May have a different one. Vitamin C, how I recommend, when any of my clients, how I recommend it to them is you can take it up to bowel tolerance. If you get too much vitamin C, you'll get loose bowels. So sometimes that's a benefit. Sometimes we're looking for that. Other times that's a great indicator of, okay, I've hit my tolerance level, then I can back down a dose, and that's where I need to stay at until my bowels tell me different. And then you can adjust it accordingly. And there are times that is hugely beneficial. Some actions of vitamin C. It is very essential for so much in our body, but it is essential in many enzymatic reactions. It's needed for collagen. So if you don't have enough vitamin C in your body, you're not going to have enough collagen in your body. And collagen is a huge, huge supplement on the market. It's just about everybody's looking for collagen. Well, you've got to have vitamin C in order for that even to fully be effective. Carnitine is an amino acid, and in my notes I have what carnitine actually does. So let me see if I can remember it. There's a lot of these amino acids I'm rusty on. It has to do with the conversion of fat into energy in your cells. So if you don't have enough carnitine, that can affect your energy level as well. And then neuropeptides, which is made up of amino acids that are made and then released by impulse conducting cells. So think of like nerves, the nerve endings and stuff like that. That would be an example. But those are found in our brain, our spinal column, and in our nerves. So vitamin C is important for all of that. It's essential for wound healing. It's essential for bone formation. It enhances the immune system, which is probably the most common use of vitamin C. It aids in the absorption of iron. So if you don't have enough vitamin C, then you're not going to absorb iron well. There's other factors too that we'll look at next month with iron, but that's a huge one. And in several iron supplements on the market, they have vitamin C in with it for that reason. It strengthens your blood vessels. That was one of the first uses of vitamin C I learned. It regulates gene expression. So people with like genetic variants, or with even things with your immune system genetically, you can turn things on and off just by giving it the right nutrients. Vitamin C is one of those that helps with the expression of your genes. And of course it acts as an antioxidant. And so it acts as an antioxidant in food, so it inhibits oxidation, which is, think of rust. That's about the best example of oxidation. That can happen in our body essentially. Vitamin C helps to counteract that. But strengthening the blood vessels. Cheyenne, she's my example for a lot. But when she was younger, she had very bad nosebleeds, just random. And really, we started putting, she was like between 8 and 10 years old, or maybe about 10 years old. And Bill said, just add some cayenne pepper on her food, because cayenne is very high in vitamin C. And I'm like, really? Just cayenne? He goes, yeah, just even a sprinkle. So I would barely put it on her meats. I would do it after we cooked it, but it was any meat she ate, it had a touch of cayenne. Mm-hmm. Well, after a period of time, like a month or so, her nosebleed stopped totally. But what it does is the vitamin C helps to strengthen the capillaries that are in your nose, and when you're having random nosebleeds, a lot of times those are weak. And she's back there laughing right now, because one time we were putting cayenne pepper on our lamb chops before it got baked, and put them in the oven, pulled them out, and I'm going, I don't remember which one I got too heavy on. She ended up getting the heaviest one. She's downing water.
Glasses of water.
And they're like, do you, and so anyway, we figured out what happened. And Mark's like, do you want me to eat that? I'll trade you. She's like, no, don't, I'm fine. But it was spicy. It was. Okay, some symptoms of vitamin C deficiency. Of course, scurvy is huge, but it can present swollen and bleeding gums, loss of teeth, poor wound healing, and poor tissue growth. All of those are symptoms of scurvy. All of those are things we still see today. So in my mind, scurvy really hasn't gone anywhere. We just don't call it that anymore. But it does have a lot to do with how much vitamin C you have in your system. Lethargy or fatigue, and I did not realize it, but after learning that vitamin C has a lot to do with carnitine and also the norepinephrine, which is the neurotransmitter, it makes sense. Because if you don't have enough of those raw materials, you're not going to convert fat into energy. Bleeding beneath the skin, so people that bruise very easily, that can be a vitamin C deficiency. Varicose veins, that was one I left off of here, but varicose veins are usually because you're lacking in vitamin C. And hemorrhoids are internal varicose veins. So again, vitamin C. Bruise easily. Joint pain and swelling has a lot to do with your vitamin C status. And then hair loss, tooth loss, weakening of blood vessels, connective tissue, and bone. All of those need collagen. And so collagen needs vitamin C. So some dietary sources, which I handed out that paper, I recall if y'all got it. And those are just some, like I told them, when I was starting to pass it out, I'm like, lemon's not on here. Lemon is one of the highest citrus fruits in vitamin C. But
tell them where the vitamin C is in lemons, because this surprised me.
it's in the whole thing of
I
vitamin.
thought, but the wrong, I can't.
That's bioflavonoids.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, bioflavonoids is in the white part underneath the skin. That's where bioflavonoids are. But vitamin C, you'll find it in all of them.
I won't put it in my glass, because I can't drink it.
It's a little bitter.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so that wasn't necessary, sorry about that.
But the pith, that white part around the fruit,
Well,
the
the
pith,
pith,
that can
yeah.
also be bitter.
Yeah.
But that's got bioflavonoids in it.
I didn't know that, but maybe not to you.
I didn't know bananas had vitamin C in them. So see, I learned something with these classes all the time. Red peppers are very high in vitamin C also. And of course, strawberries, which is strawberry season.
Yeah.
We're getting some really good citrus right now too. So some supplements. One thing I found interesting was the studies that I came across, and I'm sure there's way more studies out there than what was referenced in the articles that I was reading. But they were saying that there's, study-wise, there's not much difference between the forms of the supplement, that it didn't matter, the bodies were still absorbing it and everything. I think there's benefits to using buffered over a straight ascorbic acid. And a lot of people, like if they take a vitamin C supplement and it's irritating their stomach or it's giving them loose bowels right away, a lot of times that's the ascorbic acid, which is what vitamin C is. But if you buffer it with minerals like sodium or calcium, then it takes away that irritation and it helps your body to absorb it better. So buffered, and I like the buffered the best because those I can take on an empty stomach and I know it's not going to bother my stomach. So if I'm sick and I'm taking vitamin C, I don't have to worry if I ate or not. Vitamin C, well, a lot of the vitamins and minerals absorb better when you take them with food, just because you're already digesting food. So an L-ascorbic form can be either natural or synthetic. And buffered is most commonly sodium ascorbate or calcium ascorbate. Sodium ascorbate, I'm having a harder time trying. I've got a customer that she prefers that method or that form, but I don't find that as readily as calcium. Then with the flavonoids, you can get some of these vitamin C supplements in with the flavonoids, which I like. It's always been, I've always heard, I've always read, I couldn't find much to really prove it, that the bioflavonoids improve the efficacy of the vitamin C. But in nature, you'll always find them together. You won't find them separated like when we isolate for supplements or medications or anything. So, and then ester C was always a common vitamin C that was out there. And that's what ester C is mainly a calcium ascorbate with small amounts of vitamin C metabolites. I didn't list the metabolites because I'd never heard of them either, so I didn't figure y'all had never heard of them either. But the liposomal vitamin C has been around for several years now, and that's just the vitamin C. So they're taking a water-soluble vitamin C and encapsulating it in fat. What that does is it slows the time that it takes to get through your body instead of excreting very quickly. So it can stay in your body like 24 hours. And so those forms are really great too. This Pure Whey vitamin C is a registered, trademark, patented ingredient that I just started seeing on the market. It was really because of I was gonna bring that flyer. I forgot it. Nutritional Frontiers came out with an immune support product that has Pure Whey C in there. So when I saw that, I'm going, okay, what is special about this Pure Whey C? Because they try to use like registered, trademark, patented ingredients that have the research behind them, but they also try to use top-notch products. So I knew it was something good. But with that, the study that I found on that particular vitamin C They proved that it was rapidly absorbed into the body. It was very potent as an antioxidant and also free radical scavenger, which just means that it helps to stabilize and make the oxidation ineffective, make it stop. So what things deplete vitamin C? Cooking methods will actually affect water-soluble vitamins very, very easily. And boiling, steaming, or prolonged cooking will, and also drying, will deplete the water-soluble vitamin. So like if you're cooking stuff in a soup, however, if you have the broth in there too, you're still getting benefit of it, or anything that you use the broth. Your dietary intake. Are you eating fruits and vegetables that are high in vitamin C? The season, and I never thought about this either, but the season can affect how much vitamin C is in that product. Drought really affects it, but so does really harsh winter climates. I don't know about it growing anything up north, so when it's wintertime, I assume most of it's in greenhouses, but I don't know. So that can greatly affect it. And then your genetic variances. There's actually some genetic variances that they have found, some genes that they have found that can affect how well vitamin C is absorbed. And then smoking, predominantly, that's one of the biggest depletion activities for vitamin C is if you smoke. And those people who do smoke need higher amounts of vitamin C. Inflammation. So inflammation is like one of the root causes of so many diseases and ailments and everything. Anytime you have inflammation in your body, you can benefit from an increased amount of vitamin C. And then again, oxidative stress. So basically, if your body's rusting, then you want to add vitamin C. What? And then when you're sick or you have surgery or anything like that, you want to increase your vitamin C because surgeries can also deplete it. So what are some benefits of increasing your vitamin C? You get a decreased risk of hypertension or high blood pressure, coronary heart disease, stroke, especially the hemorrhagic stroke, because that's from weakening your blood vessels, and that's where you hear about the brain bleeds and stuff like that. Irregular heartbeats, especially after surgery for heart issues, in people with heart disease. You have a decreased risk of type 2 diabetes. Breast cancer and stomach cancer specifically. They didn't mention, like they said, one of the studies said that there wasn't much effect against colon cancer, but they did say with breast and stomach cancer. Which the stomach cancer, the fact that it decreased the risk of stomach cancer can also have something to do with it being effective with H. pylori therapies, because H. pylori is usually that's usually what you get first before you start getting stomach ulcers. And if you have an H. pylori infection, which is a bacteria that everybody has, it just depends on if it's overgrown or not, they love very low acidic terrain, I guess, in your stomach. And so, okay, that thought derailed. We have that issue too. But anyway, they found it effective against H. pylori, or not against H. pylori, but effective with H. pylori therapies to get H. pylori back down under control. Premature placenta separation from the uterine wall. A good amount of vitamin C in your system will help decrease that risk as well. And then it can also affect the severity of your cataracts, which cataracts are directly linked to your liver, or anything with the eyes is linked to your liver. So cataracts also has an effect with your liver. The liver loves vitamin C. So I found that interesting too. And then of course the endothelial function, which the endothelial lines the vascular system. So that's like your blood vessel lining is what it's talking about there. It helps improve that. It can reduce your duration of the common cold. It won't necessarily protect you from getting sick, but it'll help be able to fight things off. It really enhances your immune system. So, any questions? I didn't realize that's my last slide. Any questions over vitamin C? Just say,
Way in the beginning, I'm sorry, go on. Way in the beginning, you had that slide that you said, carnitine.
uh-huh,
Tell me the,
about the carnitine.
yeah.
Vitamin C is involved in the production of carnitine,
Mhm.
and carnitine is responsible for converting fat into energy in your cells.
Got it.
What's the recommended dose of vitamin C?
That is a great question. A lot of it, if you're trying to just keep from having scurvy symptoms, it's like 60 to 70 milligrams a day. However, the benefits that I was listing for your heart and immune system and all of that, everything started at like 500 milligrams a day. And most people are deficient in vitamin C anyway. So when I take it, I generally take 1,000 unless I'm sick, or I may take 1,000 milligrams several times a day.
Right, because we take up to 2,000.
Yeah, that's great. Your body will let you know if you get too much vitamin C.
So you recommend what, between 500 and 1,000?
Yes, ma'am. And then if you have, and just, I didn't see any of this in the studies or anything, but if you have any physical activity that you're doing, vitamin C is so essential with every other function in our body that it's great to increase them too. My daughter's an athlete, and that's one of the things. She takes it for her immune system because during the season, she'll get herself so worn out and from physical activity, but also everything else, that her immune system goes down. And so that's something we've incorporated. You have a question?
Do supplements of the vitamin C do as well as your fresh foods that have the vitamin C?
What I was seeing was they actually do in the studies. They were showing that there wasn't necessarily a difference between dietary and supplement. I highly recommend getting as much as you can from food, but knowing growing conditions affect how it is greatly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so supplementation is good. All of those flyers over there have vitamin C in them, which I've also got our buffered C over there if you want to get any of the information. But so all of those supplements have vitamin C in them. Even multivitamins have a little bit of vitamin C. Any other questions? So my next class is going to be about minerals, and we're going to look at iron. I figured since vitamin C and iron are very complementary, they go together, it'd be a great one to look at. And that'll be March 26th. All of my classes are the fourth Tuesday of the month. And then we take a break from May to, or after May, so June, July, and August, we take a break, and then we start back again in September. And all of these also, Cheyenne's greatly helping with this, but we're trying to get them up on my YouTube channel. And we're a little behind because I haven't reviewed the last one, so as soon as we do it, I'll get up. But yes, so you can go on YouTube and put in Simply Neutralistic or at Simply Neutralistic if you have trouble finding it. And that's the @ sign. And several of my videos are up there, even some of my older ones. And then that's where my store is located, and I can also, I have, because of my kids and what I've learned, I've come across labs that do the food inflammation testing and that do the nutrigenomic, which is the genetic testing, that can really help, especially those two together. You can really learn a lot about yourself and what you may be deficient in and why. And that's been a big game changer. Our youngest one, several in here have heard this before, but our youngest one has food intolerances, but her symptoms were not coming out on the skin. So I couldn't pinpoint anything with her, and there's a few things that I had suspected since she was a toddler. Doing the food inflammation and the nutrigenomic test that we had done a couple of years ago, doing them at the same time, provided so many of those answers, because all of her symptoms were coming out through like anxiety behavior, and not necessarily depression, but more the anxiety, and it was baffling. Things like that you can't necessarily pinpoint. So, thank y'all for coming today.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I did a good job.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Cheyenne, God God would have, I'm sure used another method to get me in.